the Xbox in 2020, Ubisoft's canceled game that's been in development for 3 years, and then what we think about gaming in 2020. All that and more on Wumpa Time. Hey guys, it's me, Shimp, and I am joined with my co-host,
Canadian Guy. Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Hello, everyone. Been kind of a dry week, but we're still gonna give you a podcast length worth of stuff. So we're gonna start off with a quick news, and I'm sure everyone knows this by now, but I still want to talk about it. CTR winning Best Racing/Sports Game at the Game Awards, which I think is the first time Crash Bandicoot has won an award. Is that right?
I think so, but granted, too, around the time when the initial Crash Bandicoot trilogy came out, there wasn't really this kind of stuff. It was all like magazines and stuff, but not just at the Game Awards, though. The Brazil magazine publishing and PlayStation themselves, PlayStation gave CTR Best Racing Game of the Year. It's winning accolades, not just at the Game Awards, but across the board.
Yeah, and for like a racing game, like a Crash racing game, do you think they're gonna release like a Game of the Year edition or a special
I think
edition?
So. Well, I think what they're probably going to do is they're probably going to release like a Game of the Year edition, maybe like as the PlayStation 5 port that has like all the content, all the cosmetic stuff, and then might start new Grand Prix again. Like, hey.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Do you think the response from all the awards is going to extend the duration of the planned Grand Prix?
Oh, I think so. Well, I think that,
okay.
Personally, I think that, like I said, Crash going into 2020, I think that we might be getting, because if we look at the Activision pattern as we talk about, what happens is that the game that came out the year before gets a port, right? We still need a PC port for CTR if there is going to be one, and I got a feeling that they might be pushing that back to maybe like the PlayStation 5 release, so they'll have the PS5 release, the PC port, and the PC and the PS5/Xbox release. We'll talk about that in a second. Will be like the Game of the Year edition, and then they might do more Grand Prix. It's entirely possible that we might get more content from this.
Yeah, they're going to be pouring a lot more money too, and they're probably going to hold back on that PC port because people are modding the Switch version already to get that extra content that's not even been announced yet.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
They might be holding off on that one.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to see. I'm not 100% sure about that. I will be actually making a video about kind of like talking about the online play too, and that might affect the PC version, so we'll have to see. But speaking of PC, so as we talked about last week, the Master Chief Collection has been sort of ported to PC. Yes, it has, but when I mean collection, I mean one game. At the moment, it's only Reach, but if you do buy the collection, you get all the games as they come out. Well, apparently, we're going to be going into testing for Halo Combat Evolved, which is technically Halo 1, in January. They're going into beta testing already in January, so already it seems like that if everything follows a certain release, we might have the entire Master Chief Collection by the end of 2020, maybe at the start of 2021, and it all running smoothly, because like we talked about last week, it was not a smooth start on Xbox One. It was
so is this going to be is this going to be a public beta or is it going to be a closed beta?
I don't know. I think it's going to be a closed beta. Usually that's how they run it. They run it closed and then they'll go to open. But it's nice to see that they're already going to go into testing in January, only like a month or two after Reach.
Yeah, that's a really good sign.
Right. So I mean, that means that they might be able to be like, okay, they know what they're doing. They're able to focus on being able to get that all fixed and ready. And I think that that's really intelligent to see that they're doing it this way, because I would rather it come out every 2-3 months and for it to work functional than for it all release at once and for it to be a mess for a year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still planning on picking it up because I've never played any Halo game. And I owned the Master Chief Collection on Xbox at one point. I still never played it because I was just so busy. But I'm gonna get it. I might stream it because this is my first reaction, and I've never experienced Halo, and I know it's kind of like a sin to never experience Halo.
It's a very, very good. It does taper off though at Halo 4. And Halo 4 is
I've heard.
And then 5 is just like, oh no, stop.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say anything good about 5 other than the multiplayer is all right.
Multiplayer is all right, and Buck is played by Nathan Fillion, and that's about all.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all I need. Now, so I'm not sure how many people this affects outside of the U.S. Do you have this in Canada?
Redbox.
Yes.
I think we did. I think it dropped out from. I mean, I might be wrong. It might have dropped out from my local area, but we did have a Redbox. Yes, we did.
Okay, so the reason I'm bringing up Redbox is Redbox is currently selling all of their video game stock because, first off, for whatever reason you're not familiar with Redbox, it's a kiosk that you'd see at any local grocery store or even like McDonald's, and you could rent a movie for $1 a day or a video game for like $2 a day or something like that, or $3. But it was only disc. It was not a case that would give you a disc in a little jewel case. Now, because of how popular the digital age is, I think this is affecting Redbox because
100%.
they are selling all of their game stocks at like ridiculously low prices for a lot of these recent games. Like, for example, Devil May Cry 5 you can go get at Redbox right now for like $12, like just disc only. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is the one I'm going to be picking up, is $8. Just the most recent Tomb Raiders, $8. And I think the big one is like Kingdom Hearts 3 for like $15.
Yeah, they're liquidating everything. They're just like, get rid of it all. We made our money with the credit card payments. Just get rid of it.
So if you want to, you can go to the Redbox website, look at their game, and then you put in your zip code, and then you can see which local Redbox has that. But act fast, because once they're gone, they're gone. There's not going to be any more games.
No more restocking.
So if you haven't played a fantastic game like Spider-Man, which is still on the Redbox, you can get that for like $15.
Yeah, I mean, the disc might be scratched up, but, if it works, that's all that really matters. You're getting a discounted price. Unfortunately, like I said, in Canada, I think Redbox left years ago. Digital,
like a lot of things.
Yeah, like a lot of things in Canada. Target left, Redbox left.
That was my next thing is Target.
Yeah. And one other quick thing that I do want to mention to kind of relate to what we said about probably why Redbox is closing down because of the digital age. On the last quarter for PlayStation, Sony reported that they sold more units through digital than they did physical for the first time.
Yeah.
That's
I think it was
huge.
like 60% digital and 40% physical.
Yeah, 60-40, which is a scary thought going into the next generation. So that's very interesting. And speaking of PlayStation, though, PlayStation Now, which is the PlayStation variation of Game Pass, which is now starting to gain up speed with their quality content and their titles and stuff. They're bringing 3 new games to PlayStation Now next month. The first one is PUBG, the popular battle royale that came up before Fortnite, but got overtaken by Fortnite very easily. Yeah, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, I believe, is The Lost Legacy.
Yes.
Which is the game that comes after Uncharted 4. That's coming to PlayStation Now. But I think the biggest one, in my opinion, is the fact that they are now bringing Horizon Zero Dawn to PlayStation.
That's pretty huge.
That's massive. I mean, they got God of War in there. Now they got Horizon Zero Dawn. I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn is arguably... I loved Horizon Zero Dawn. It was one of the best games I played. And on an engine that was absolutely impeccable. One of the few games I experienced very little lag because the Decima engine was just beautiful.
Decima engine's very, very good.
It's very good. It runs great with Sony. The Decima with the PlayStation, it runs better than it should. The way it does the rendering distances and everything to keep everything nice and smooth, and just fantastic. The game is great, and if you guys got PlayStation Now, I highly, highly, highly recommend to take a weekend, maybe even 2 weekends, to No Life Horizon Zero Dawn specifically.
So, I should also mention that yes, PlayStation Now is a streaming service, but if you're on your PS4 and you have the subscription service and it's a PS4 game, you can actually download the game to your PS4.
Yes.
You do not have to stream it. You can stream it if you're low on hard drive space, or if you're on your PC and you're away from your PS4, or just if you just want to stream it just because. You can stream any of these games, but if it's any PS4 game, you can download it locally. Correct. As long as you're a current subscriber, you can keep playing it on your hard drive.
I also want to mention too that they will also do, if I remember correctly, with PlayStation, and it might be Xbox, but I think PlayStation does this. You can actually go offline and still play Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes,
and it will only it does a system check every 2 or 3 days to see if you still are a PlayStation Now. So if you have terrible internet, you can download it, and after you download it, you can go offline, and then every day or two just pop back online just to PlayStation Now just to see that, hey, I'm here, and then go back offline if you want.
Yeah, and this PlayStation Now, do not sleep on it. It's a very good service, unlike another one. Sorry, I had a little stadia in my throat. I'm okay. Anyways, now the last bit of quick news is completely out of the blue. You guys knew Puma, the shoe brand?
Yeah, I know Puma.
Yeah, Puma. Yeah, would you like some Puma gamer shoes? Some epic gamer shoes, dude? Do you want to know? Do you want to know how much you can spend right now to get some gamer shoes?
Oh, please tell me this deal.
For the low price of 160 big bucks, you can get some Puma gamer shoes for all those hardcore gaming sessions where your feet start hurting. What is this? What is this?
I don't know. What constitutes as gamer shoes?
What? Oh, I'm sorry. It's $180.
Oh, man, you're just selling me even more, man.
I'm sorry.
That extra $20 was burning a hole in my pocket. I mean...
Okay, at least you can put some gamer shoes on your feet. Now, let me read the product story real quick. This is the story behind the gamer shoes.
Please,
okay.
I need to hear this.
Let's see, this is official. It says, created with console gamers in mind, the gaming sock is the first edition active gaming footwear. Designed for indoor and Designed for indoor and in-arena use, it delivers seamless comfort, support, and grip so gamers can adapt to different active gaming modes and game their best.
Okay, the first word that you never say with gamer is the word active.
Hey, I play Ring Fit Adventure. I could use these. No, dude, the best thing is the features and benefits. There's three bullet points, and each one is a bad gaming pun. The first one is like medical wrap-up grip for seek mode, lateral wrap-up support in attack mode, heel wrap-up stability in cruise and defense mode.
Man,
I hate all of this.
I'm speechless. I'm trying to come up with witty comments, and it's just, the stupid is just too high. It's just someone on Twitter said, how do I change modes on my shoes? Not only the shoes. Okay, not only the shoes. They're also releasing this. What's it called? It's called the Puma Play Seat, and it's just a rocking chair. It's just a gaming rocking chair with holes in it like a shoe. But don't they look like slippers too? So is this like pseudo like retirement home stuff? Is it like...
Are these like water shoes?
I don't know, man.
I don't know if they're socks or like house shoes, water shoes. Can I wear them outside, or are my gamer feet too delicate for the outside world?
You're a gamer. You don't go outside.
I don't go outside. Dude, my house is clean. I don't need shoes. So the chair... So, I want to read something about the chair real quick. The chair offers additional benefits during intense gaming sessions, including stability.
Oh, I just died a little on the inside.
We got 4 bullet points. The chair offers stability in cruise mode, support in defense mode, grip in attack mode, and freedom in win mode. Win mode!
Win mode!
Win mode! The mode that lets you win! And you can get all of this... No. You can get the chair itself just for $255. It's a rocking chair.
I summon my rocking chair in attack mode.
What? You can't do that.
But with the side effect of my Puma socks going into active mode, I summon both at the same time.
You activated my trap card, the Puma Play Seat, in gamer mode.
Oh...
So that aneurysm is passed. You want to go on to the main topics?
No, that's it. We're done. No, I'm kidding. Yeah,
we're done. We're done.
I can't do the rest of this. I can't do the rest of the stream. So let's talk about another brain-numbing topic. So, Shemp, I want to ask you a question.
Yes. What is it?
What do you think the next Xbox is called? What do you think it's called? What do you think the name is?
Xbox 2. Xbox 720, maybe the Xbox Series X. Isn't that the official name? Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, that's what we thought. That's what we saw. It said Xbox Series X, so that's what we thought the name is. Oh, but you're wrong. That's not the name.
No.
No, that's not the name. That's not the name. Ladies and gentlemen, the next generation of Xbox is not called the Xbox Series X. No. You see, you thought too deep into it. You read the placement card.
You stupid dumb idiot. No.
You read the placement
idiot.
You read the placement card at the Game Awards, and you read too much. The next console is called Xbox. That's it. No, there's no.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just Xbox. There's no.
It's just Xbox. It's just Xbox. It's just called Xbox.
We're serious.
Just called. It's like the new it's like, hey, I want to upgrade from Windows 10. What's it called? Windows. Windows what? Windows. Like the first one? No, new Windows. It's called Windows.
They are rebranding the next generation of consoles to just Xbox.
Wait, but Canadian guy, didn't they already do that?
Yes, with the first Xbox. That wasn't the Xbox One.
Oh, so what do we call the old Xbox?
Xbox.
So what do we call the new Xbox?
Xbox. Here's the thing. Yeah, here's the thing. I am just baffled. I am just shocked, and it just confuses me as to what is going on over at Xbox. And I swear, someone needs to walk in and just smack somebody. Just anybody, just smack them. Walk into Xbox Game Studios and smack somebody, because it's painful. And I thought the Xbox One was the dumbest idea. I'm like, the Xbox One is the third Xbox. How could they make a possibly dumber name? They figured it out.
Oh no, I'm dying. I'm coughing more and I'm dying.
I don't understand. I don't get it. This isn't supposed to be an attack on Xbox. I love Xbox. I love PlayStation. I love the Switch. I love the PC. I love gaming. I love the industry. I don't like Stadia. That's a different story. But I love the industry.
I love gaming.
Okay. I love gaming. I need my Puma socks. And but Xbox, what is the thought process behind this? I don't get it.
So I know enough about marketing to know what's going on. I understand what's going on.
Can you tell me the Matrix? Because I can't.
Okay, let me break it down for you guys. So, going forward, until we see the next console, the new console, the branding is going to be Xbox. That's always been the branding. But the other, like the Xbox One X, was just a sub-series of the One X. This is called the Xbox. And the other, there's going to be three, we discussed this last week, there's going to be 3 models of the new Xbox.
Yeah.
And these models are just products for the line of Xbox consoles. So the new console is called Xbox, and the line of consoles will have their own name, a sub-name, if you will. The new one is called the Series X, which is the middleman. That is the one you want to go for. That's like the, it's like saying I want the iPhone 10, the 10 Plus, or the 10R. It's the same thing, but the difference is Apple's not calling it the iPhone. They're calling it the iPhone 10 because numbers. Xbox is just calling it Xbox. Like if they called it Xbox Scarlet Series X, that would have been a stupid name, but it would have been better than just Xbox. Yeah. Like it would have been so much cooler if it was just Xbox Scarlet. Yeah, that would have been cool.
It's funny because whoever's coming up with these prototype names, swap them with the people who are coming up. Swap them, because you can have your own dumb, stupid name internally. That's fine, but when you go to the public, like, man, Xbox One X was called Project Scorpio. Like,
that's cool.
Could you imagine?
That's memorable.
Yeah, could you imagine? I have the Xbox Scorpio. Like, oh, that's cool. That's interesting. And then the next one, the Xbox Scarlet. Oh, that's really cool. And you know what?
That's awesome.
You can do a play on words where it's like, okay, every series, the Xbox, it starts with the letter S and something cool, right? And you got, even if you want to do the upgrade, like imagine this, the new Xbox Scarlet X, right? That still sounds pretty cool. And I can imagine the logo now. It's just a red X. That's it. Like you open up the box and it's a red X. That's it. Like That's marketing. That is marketing.
Honestly, I would have loved if the new Xbox was called something like Xbox Odyssey. That would have been so cool. Like, what do you want? Oh, the Xbox Odyssey, the Series X or the Series Y, or maybe the Xbox, I don't know, Space Station, Xbox Moon, anything, any tagline. Like, if PlayStation 5 was just called PlayStation, I would have deleted the podcast. Honestly, like, I'm not joking.
Yeah, seriously, but it's painful. It's painful to see that they're doing that. It's like as if they got together at a board meeting, they couldn't figure out the name, and they just saw the word Xbox, like the Xbox.
Genius. Yes, give a man a raise.
Like,
what'd you do to get a raise? I said the company name. Oh,
that's what I've been missing.
I haven't said PlayStation enough.
I can't.
Right.
I can't.
So we know it's called Xbox. We know the middle console is going to be called Series X. So the Project Lockhart has to be like Series
S, probably.
S, Series Y, something.
Well, because
they
kind of like established that, because originally there was the Xbox and there's the Xbox Elite, and the Elite was like the bigger version, the better version, right?
Oh yeah.
Right, but now they swapped it from the Elite to the then it was from the Elite, they also had the Xbox S. And then they released the Xbox One. But instead of it being the Xbox One Elite, they went to the X. Like, the X is the Elite version. So, Project Anaconda, which... that sounds cool, the Xbox Anaconda. Like, man...
That sounds so cool!
like, could you imagine if they named all the consoles after, like, animals? Like, just...
See... They could have capitalized on it so bad so much, because PlayStation stuck with numbers. You could have capitalized on the fact that PlayStation cannot do anything besides numbers.
Oh man, could you imagine? I just thought of a logo. Like, imagine doing an After Effects. Imagine like a snake coiling around into the X for Project Anaconda. Like, it's a snake.
Hire us! Make us the marketing guys!
Yeah, and make it like...
Come on!
It coils in a circle and hisses, and it forms the X for the Xbox, like Project Anaconda. Like, you got these internal names that are awesome. They are cool. These are names that are really neat. And then you're just turning around and just botching it. You're just botching it into something that's just terrible. And be creative with your names. Be something different. And, like, look at Nintendo. Nintendo's like, okay, we got every single console with the exception of the Wii U, which... yeah, the thing is with the Wii U is that's the one that failed, right? There was no Xbox 128, right? It was Xbox 64, and then they moved on. It was GameCube. Okay, you got your GameCube. Then you got your GameCube. You got your Wii, fantastic. Then you got your Wii U, failure. Then Nintendo Switch. All of these games, all these names and products separate each other, and they're able to be completely different. PlayStation takes a safe route, right? Okay, it's the fifth one. PlayStation 5, done. That's it. That's there's nothing else to it. Just PlayStation 5, done, right? So either go simple or go something interesting. What Xbox is doing is neither.
See, the funny thing is, at one point, like we just said, Nintendo did go the Xbox route in naming their consoles, because we had the Xbox One, the Xbox One S, the Xbox One X. They're stupid names because people are confused. Then you have the Wii and the Wii U. People keep thinking the Wii U is just a Wii. They don't know what the Wii U is because of the name. Exactly. It's stupid.
They messed up, right? And I believe Nintendo recognized that. They're like, okay,
yeah,
the naming and the marketing, like, before we even talk about the quality of the games, because honestly, there were a lot of games that came out for the Wii U that were fantastic. They were great.
They were really good games.
But the marketing and the naming of the Wii U was just awful, and I gotta feel, and I'm not saying that that's going to happen the exact same way to the next Xbox, because I mean, people are still going to pick it up, but I can promise you, to the general consensus of the public, there is going to be so much confusion. I can promise you. It's just,
oh my god, yes, especially for local game stores like the one I work at, where our POS, point of sales system, is. When we ring up a console, we type in system, and then if it's like an Xbox One, we say Xbox One S. But we also sell retro consoles, so we just say System Xbox for the original Xbox.
Yeah.
What are we gonna put for We can't say Xbox again.
I think what you guys are going to have to do, you have to go Xbox, S, and then the letter that for S for series, but then let's go Xbox, S, and then X. So that would be the only way to do it because it's so confusing. It's just...
I will pay them to change the name. I will pay you to change the name. Please. I refuse to call it the Series X. I'm just going to call it New Xbox because you guys aren't naming it. You know what? Nintendo also did New 3DS XL. That's a stupid name. I'll still say that over this. I'll call it the New Xbox. That's what I'm calling it, the New Xbox.
Yeah, that's it. So, moving on from mind-numbing stupidity, let's move on to something that's actually really positive. Shemp, you want to take the lead on this one?
Yeah, so it starts off kind of grim. So
yeah, it does.
Ubisoft had this game. First off, yes, Ubisoft, not Ubisoft. Ubisoft had this game in development for 3 years, mind you. 3 years of development on this game, and recently they were announced that the game was just canceled. There was really no reason given other than the fact that it was just canceled.
Right.
I do have a theory of why, but I'll get into that later.
Right.
But the good news is that unlike our grim ending last week, every single employee that worked on that project was sent off to other Ubisoft projects that are going, because I think they have like 15 things going on right now.
They currently have 15 projects in production, yes.
15 projects in production, and the cool thing is they could even pick what one they wanted to work on.
Right.
So if one of them wanted to work on Watch Dogs, they would be like, yeah, I want to go work on Watch Dogs. All right, go work on Watch Dogs, and we'll pay you for it.
Right. And another thing that's really cool too, this was a big project because they had over 200 people working on this project. Over 200. 200. That's a lot of people working on a project. I mean, you got people like, I want to give a ballpark. Beanox wasn't even 200 for CTR.
I think the closest I can think of is Naughty Dog for Uncharted 4. I think that was 200 people.
Yeah. So, imagine that many people all saying, hey, the project that you've been working on for the past 3 years has been canceled, but none of you are losing your jobs. You're just being redistributed to other projects, and you can even choose which project to go to. Now, first off, in terms of the game industry and in terms of all that stuff, that is incredible and that is impeccable because there are so many people who are stuck in crunch time. There are so many people that as soon as the project gets canceled, they all get laid off. And to hear that these people did not lose their jobs, that not only did they not lose their jobs, but they get to choose which project to work on next. That's a win for Ubisoft. Now, a lot of people have a lot of opinions about Ubisoft. I do as well. They do put a lot of shady business transactions, like microtransactions and stuff in their games. But let me tell you something. That is something that is a win for Ubisoft. That's a win for the gaming industry, and I'm happy to see that. So
now, first off, before I get into my theory, what I want to speculate is what game was it? What could have needed 200 people to work on
for 3 years?
For 3 years. I can't think of anything.
I'm trying to think, like, what would require 200 people working on a project for 3 years and then for them to cancel it? Like, what happened? Now, we also want to say this is a project that was never announced. So it's not one of those, it's not Watch Dogs, I believe 3, and it's not, what was the other game that they announced? Gods and Monsters? I can't remember.
Yeah, Gods and Monsters.
Yeah,
yes.
Gods and Monsters.
And the new Rainbow Six, I think, too.
Right. So it's not the Rainbow Six. It's something entirely different. What was it? I have no idea. If they've been working on it for 3 years, some people were speculating that it could have been a Splinter Cell game.
That's actually a good point.
But that would be painful to the Splinter Cell fans. I mean, imagine you had a game being worked on for 3 years with 200 people on it and it got canceled. But I don't understand why they would cancel Splinter Cell.
It couldn't be Splinter Cell. I highly doubt it was Assassin's Creed. That makes too much money. Yeah. And it couldn't have been Rayman. No Rayman game needs 200 employees.
No.
I don't. So, going through Just Dance 2021.
That's the project.
That's it, man. 200 people. I'm pretty sure like 2 people work on that game. out of all of their IPs, I cannot think of a single existing IP that could request that many people. So it had to have been an entirely new IP that we just didn't know about.
It might have been. I mean, this is something that happened to Sony Santa Monica. Do you know what happened there with their new IP?
Which one was which IP?
So Sony Santa Monica were the ones that made God of War, right?
Yes.
And they had a sci-fi game in development for years.
That's right. Yeah. Was it being developed at the same time as God of War 4?
Yeah, so basically they had the A team, which was working on the sci-fi projects, and then they had a small B team where Cory Barlog was basically putting together the story and trying to figure it out. And then they canceled the sci-fi game. It was after like 4 years of development, and they canceled it. They had art and they had all these things, and they just said it just wasn't working. But then they turned to Cory and said, okay, it's now it's time for God of War. And Cory was like, we're not ready, because Cory was supposed to be given like an additional, he needed like another year and a half of production to figure out where he wanted to go with it. And then they said, okay, we're going to start with your projects in 6 weeks. By the way, here's 30 people, start now. And
that's right. Yeah, I remember, because they published a God of War documentary.
Yeah, and Cory was like losing his mind.
See, it's interesting that documentary produced by PlayStation shows that, because that is Sony making that move, like that last minute, like, hey, you got 6 weeks. Here's 30 people. Go crazy.
Well, yeah, it's like, okay, you got 30 people, and each like passing week that goes on, more people are being added to their team. And basically, Cory was just like, I'm trying to find jobs for people because I'm getting developers for later down the line, and we're not even finished the groundwork yet. So, he had a lot of people experimenting a bunch of stuff. And one of the things that someone was experimenting in was the Leviathan axe, and it being pulled back and everything. And he saw them working on that. And he was like, yeah, that works. Let's implement that. And that's where a lot of the genius of God of War came from. It came out of panic. It came out of, okay, we have to figure something out that's cool, right? And figure something out that's interesting. And they did. They were able to figure something out, and they were able to make something epic out of it. And now I don't think we're going to be seeing God of War. Probably God of War came out in 2017. Was it 2017 it came out, or 2018?
It was. I want to say 2017. Let me double check real quick.
It might have been 2018. No, it was 2018. It came out in April 2018.
Yeah, April 20th, 2018.
So we probably won't be seeing God of War until, I would say, maybe even 1 or 2 years into the PS5. Because they're gonna PlayStation recognizes that basically this was a giant reboot for the God of War franchise, and they are going to be basically letting Cory take his time on it. Like, take your time on it, kill it, do good. Because
this is considered a quote-unquote soft reboot, where it's still chronological, but it is resetting the character, because it does take place after God of War 3, like long after God of War 3.
Yeah, it does take place, and the previous events do impact the game, like things that happen, but it's like you don't need to have played the original games to be able to figure out what's going on.
Because they explain it, like the whole thing with Atreus and Zeus, they explain that.
Yeah, which was it was really well done how they did it, how they explained that. That was, man, the way that they explained everything was so good. And
I mean, this isn't really a spoiler, because the game's been out for like almost 2 years. But when he got the Blades of Chaos, that's when I was like, when he pulled it out, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, oh no. But I will say this too, and this one of the most amazing things about God of War that I still think is a technical masterpiece about it, something that which we're going to be moving on to the next subject, because like I said, there's not much gaming news, so we're just going to be talking about games that we're excited for. But God of War did this trick where everything was taken in one shot, right? Like
the whole game is a one shot.
Doesn't cut once. So it seamlessly transitions between cinematics and gameplay seamlessly. Like, there's no stop, jar, load, this, that, and the other. Everything is covered up. Everything is hidden. Everything is... And it is so well done. In fact, the fast travel, I didn't even realize it was just a giant loading screen until like halfway through the game. where
Oh yeah.
where you go through the doors. Yeah, you go through the doors. Like, okay, now you're gonna fast travel to this new location. So Kratos opens up this mystical door. You walk through like this intergalactic dimension. You're running through it, and then a new door shows up in the mist, and you walk through it, and you're in your new area. And you're controlling Kratos the whole time. You can turn back around and go back. You can, in fact, actually run off the side and kill yourself. You can do all these different things. And then you go through and you're in the next area as if nothing happened, as if like everything was preloaded, but it was a giant pseudo loading screen, but it was smartly done. And I didn't realize it until like halfway through. And I'm sure people who are not necessarily, invested tech in terms of tech into gaming would have noticed it either. And
yeah,
it was so good. I would say that there was one cheap cut, which was when, it doesn't really, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it was when they go into the mouth of a beast and the whole screen goes black briefly.
Oh, yeah.
And then it fades back
I mean, you
up
see that in
briefly.
movies. You see that in movies all the time, like all the Kingsman movies.
Yeah.
Where they do the one-shot fights. There's like 40 hidden cuts in there, but it looks like one shot.
Yeah. But that was the only time I'm like, but I was looking for it. That's the thing. I was looking for it. And God of War was just so well done. It really was.
Now the thing with my theory with the Ubisoft cancellation.
Yeah, sorry,
is,
go back to that. Sorry.
No, you're good. I 100% believe that this was the outcome of Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure if you know much about it.
I heard a little bit about it.
So for the people who don't know, Ghost Recon Breakpoint came out. And it was extremely microtransaction heavy at the very beginning. A lot of things were locked away, and Ubisoft was like, oopsie doopsies, that wasn't supposed to be there yet. So they took it off, and then they put it back like almost immediately. A lot of things were hidden behind paywalls. It required internet. Everything was awful. People hated it. I have a coworker who loves a Ghost Recon. He loves Tom Clancy games, and he bought it day one digitally on the Xbox One. This will be a lesson for you guys who buy digitally, but he bought it digitally, and he hated it, and he cannot get a refund because Microsoft refuses to give him a refund. So Steam's policy is if you buy a game and you play it for 2 hours or less, and it's been 14 days, you can return the game and get your refund. Same thing with PlayStation. Microsoft is, if you bought the game and played it at all, you do not get a refund. You can get a refund if you didn't play it. Now, what Ubisoft did is, because Breakpoint suffered so bad critically and with fans, they said that they delayed all of their games. Every single project that they announced, they delayed to fix Breakpoint. So I 100% agree that the Breakpoint is the reason that this game was canceled, because all these delays cost money, and money in established IPs is less than investing money in an entirely new IP that's taking 3 years. So they've already spent the money for 3 years, but it's better for them to just cut their losses and invest money in things that they know is going to sell. Watch Dogs Legion and The Division 2.
Assassin's Creed,
Rainbow Six, Gods and Monsters. They've already announced that.
Yeah, Far Cry.
Far Cry.
But something that I noticed, and this was something that was very, very interesting, was that as soon as you're talking about, it's funny how it's called Breakpoint, and it might have been the Breakpoint of Ubisoft, literally, is that you were right, they delayed everything, but not by a few months either, but like almost an entire year.
Oh yeah, almost a whole year.
Almost every game got delayed by like a year, and everything got pushed back, and Ubisoft came forward and said, yeah, we messed up. And this was the first time in a long time where a company in like the stance of Ubisoft, because they already started doing something like this with Assassin's Creed. The last few Assassin's Creeds have been much better. The straw that broke the camel's back was Unity. When Assassin's Creed Unity came out, everyone was just like, this.
Was that the one that was like broken on launch?
It was broken. It was completely and utterly broken. It was bad. It was the first Assassin's Creed that I was playing. I'm like, I don't like this game. I didn't like it. It felt hollow. It felt dull. It felt boring. It was broken. It was glitchy. The difficulty was so high at one point and incredibly low at another point. It was just really, really bad. And it was the first Assassin's Creed. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to play this anymore. And I put it down. then they came forward like, okay, we're going to make sure that we design better games. Then they released Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which overall was much smaller than the other Assassin's Creeds, but was better polished. So I don't know if they like shrunk the size of the game down and then, polished what they had, because it was like, okay, this is fun. It was a solid Assassin's Creed experience. And then they released Origins, and then they released Odyssey, and both games were fantastic. Both Odyssey and Origins did very well critically, sales-wise. They all did very well. But the other projects that they were working on, they may have lost sight, but the other projects they were working on, they were not giving the same attentive care. And
yeah, exactly.
And it caused a massive issue. And now I think they're realizing we need to take the special care that we've been giving towards Assassin's Creed to all of our IPs. We can't just release another shooty bang bang like everybody else, right? Because
you got to stand out.
Right, because this is the problem that's happening now, is that we now have so many games that are like someone said that it was hilarious, a shooty bang bang. There's so many, that's what they call it, and it's true. There's so many genres of it, and they all look the same. They all feel and look exactly the same. You got your Battlefields, your Call of Duties, your Ghost Recons, they all, if you took a screenshot from all three games and show it to someone, can you say what's the difference? And if they're not familiar with any of the games, they couldn't tell the difference. They wouldn't know, right? Because there's nothing different about it. It's all the same. So, they need to be able, so they released yet another shooty bang bang, and it did bad. It did bad.
Yeah.
There's no
bad.
Objectively, not subjectively, objectively bad. It was not good. And they came forward and they admitted that, and they shifted everything. So that was something that is very, very interesting. Now, I do want to ask you a question, is that
yes,
2020 is around the corner. Right, so this is going to be the last podcast of this year. This is the final Wumpa time for 2019, and we're about to enter 2020. Man, when I say 2020, that's so weird.
It's weird. I still haven't.
I feel like I'm in a sci-fi movie. Take place in March 2020. Like, that's what it feels like. You know what I mean?
2020.
Right, and we're about to actually enter that now. We're about to do it. That's insane. But going to 2020. There are a few games that we know that are going to be coming out next year that are going to be hits. One of them being Cyberpunk 2077. Like that. Oh, yeah. That's going to rock the house. The Last of Us Part 2, that's going to rock the house. Ghost of Tsushima, going to rock the house. There's so many games that are coming out in 2020. But yet, we're also winding down to the next generation, right? So it's weird.
Yes.
It's weird. So you get these last games for this generation, and then the next generation begins at the end of the next year.
So I'm wondering if we're going to have do you remember when the PS4 was coming out, the PS3 games the year before just were at an all-time low. It was super slow how everything started coming out. I'm looking at the upcoming games for the PS4 in 2020, or not just PS4, just for all the consoles, and there's a lot, especially a bunch of not unannounced ones, but ones that don't have release dates yet, like Assassin's Creed Ragnarok. That's going to be on so Assassin's Creed Ragnarok is going to release Q4 of next year, so it's going to be released on everything. Windows, PS4, PS5. So that's going to be a launch title, it looks like. Yeah,
so it's going to go to multiple consoles, and the better version will be the PS5 and the... Because Black Flag did come out for PS3 as well, right? Because that was the last launch title, was Black Flag, yeah.
And when you play it on PS4 and PS3, you're like, well, what's the big difference? And... I'm going to be wondering that too, because PS4, Assassin's Creed on PS4 and PS5, there's only so much you can do for it to, really wow me on the PS5. So I'm wondering what's good. With Little Big Planet 3, that was a PS3 and a PS4 game. Virtually nothing was different besides a couple of exclusive features on the PS4. So I'm wondering how that's going to go.
Well, I remember for Black Flag, because it came out for PS3 and PS4, right? I remember Black Flag had better water effects.
Like GTA 5 did too.
Yeah, and I feel like the games that come out initially that are going to go to both consoles at first aren't necessarily going to be the best. Because they have to consider for both versions, right? But what it might do is that it might play like a PS4 game in 4K 60 frames per second, right? So
yeah,
I think that's what's going to be. It'll be like, oh, it looks like a PS4 game, but it's 4K 60 frames per second, no jagged lines, and runs smoother overall. And I think that's the extent to it, because you can't have a game look at when we saw the Xbox One X, look at Senua's Saga. There's no way that you're going to have one version look like Senua's Saga and another version look like the PS4. There's no way. No way. You're not going to do it. You won't do it. No. It's not going to work. It's not going to work that way. And the initial launch titles will still look good, but we might have to wait an additional year or two to get those really, really visually driving games that are just exclusive to the next generation.
Yeah. And going into the next generation, I wonder how many ports we're going to see, because I don't know, the ports are going to be weird because it is fully backwards compatible with the PS4.
Right.
So I'm really not going to see what the big difference is, besides like maybe a new texture pack or something like that, something weird.
Well, this is my question too, and I do want to ask you this question because I'm wanted to be making a video about this for CTR and Crash Bandicoot, because a lot of people were assuming it's going to be coming out for both PS4 and both PS5. If it's going to be backwards compatible, what would happen if I put my PS4 version in my PS5?
Most likely you'll just, like with something like that, if there are two versions, it's probably just going to play the PS4 version. I don't think there's going to be any enhancements other than the base PS4 Pro enhancement, if there is one. Mm-hmm. And it's going to play on the same servers. If they do make a PS5 version with all the DLC and all the stuff unlocked already, then that version is just going to have all the stuff unlocked. Like, I don't think there's going to be any difference besides that. Right. Because you can't, with a game like that, that's so focused on online, you can't have one version favor the other, because then both versions will not mix well together.
Right.
You're going to have two different server bases for each game.
Right. But even what about just like single player in general, right? Like, but like I said, like, is it just going to be because like I said, you got the, look what Xbox did with, the Xbox 360 for Red Dead Redemption 1, where if you pop Red Dead Redemption 1 into the Xbox One X, it downloads 4K textures and then up-reses it and makes everything run really nice.
So that I did not know. I didn't know that it downloads 4K textures.
Yes. That's the big thing, is that Xbox One X allows you, where you pop in the Red Dead Redemption, it downloads a whole texture pack for Red Dead Redemption, makes everything 4K, crisp and beautiful. And people were saying that Red Dead Redemption almost looked like a mid-gen PS4 game with the 4K textures and running smoothly. And I was shocked when I heard that. I was shocked that it would do that. So my question is, okay, you pop in an Xbox 360 game, it downloads the 4K textures and makes it better. What's going to happen when you pop a PS4 game now in the next generation? Is it going to do the same thing? Or it's the same thing with Xbox. Let's bring it close to the home. If you put an Xbox One game into Xbox Scarlet, I'm calling it the Scarlet, I don't care, it's Scarlet. If you put the Xbox One game into the Xbox Scarlet, right, is it going to do the same thing where it downloads the textures and up-reses it?
I'm assuming probably not for most games, because if it's a multi-generation game, what Xbox did with that, like, for I don't know about PlayStation, but for Xbox side, if it's a multi-generation game, they just don't make it backwards compatible. Like right. Skyrim on the 360 does not work on the Xbox One. You need the Xbox One version. So
really,
with Xbox, yes. So any game that's multi-gen, the 360 version doesn't work. Like I think Just Dance 2016-17, those don't work. Skyrim doesn't work. What's another one that's on? I know Oblivion works because that's only on the 360. It's not on the Xbox One. Assassin's Creed Unity, the 360 version doesn't work because their logic is, well, there's an Xbox One version. Why would we put support out for the 360 version when we're trying to sell more hardware for the Xbox One?
Right.
So for the PS4, I'm wondering if they're going to be doing PS4 backwards compatibility in waves. but I don't think so because they said it is fully backwards compatible.
Right.
So I think it's just going to play the game. I think if there is going to be a texture pack upgrade or something like that, it'll be up to the publisher like Activision, and I don't think Activision's gonna invest in that. I think it's a waste of time for them.
Yeah, same. I think they should maybe invest that into games that were like that are maybe like kind of discontinued, or games that are like it was a one-off release in PS3 and there's no plans on bringing out any sequels or remasters, where it's up to the developer. Like, hey, you could throw in a 4K texture pack if you want.
Yeah, that's actually how Microsoft does a lot of the original Xbox games on the Xbox One, because a lot of those companies are now defunct. So now it's just, I think what they do is they just kind of contact someone who worked on it and they're like, hey, we're doing this. You cool with it? Yeah, we're cool with it. Okay, cool. So a lot of the Xbox games on the Xbox One X, they play in widescreen, and I think they're upscaled to 4K. So a lot of the Star Wars games on the original Xbox look really, really good on the One X.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if the PS5 is going to do that with like PS2 games, not PS1, because you can't really do anything with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends. It depends on what they do, because I mean, we have emulators now that can run, Spyro and all these games in, widescreen, basically, run it fairly well.
Yeah, you have to do a lot of backdooring, but you can do it.
Yeah, you can do it. So, I mean, I'm wondering if they're going to try to do something similar. And then the question is that, and this is the question that everyone's been talking about for the PS5, is will it work with the PS3 with its cell architecture? Because everybody can get
the big thing.
Yeah, because everyone can get PS1, PS2, and PS4 working fine. It's the PS3, that bloody PS3, the way they had that processor set up, it's just janky and goofy as heck.
The PS3 was so weird that Gabe Newell at the beginning said it is the worst console to work on, and then at the end of the life cycle turned around and said Portal 2 on the PS3 is the best version of Portal 2.
Right.
So I don't know if Sony couldn't do it for the PS4, maybe they could do it for the PS5, because if the PS5 can play my PS3 games, I will be extremely happy. I don't even care if it's just 1080p. I just want them to work on one system. I will be so extremely happy.
I mean, just playable would be nice too. And what would be nice too is for me as a channel is I can actually start. And I do think that this is going to be something. And back me up. Well, not back me up here, but what do you think?
Back me up.
Back me up here, man. Back me up my point here. I'm being obvious. I think that these systems being backwards compatible is going to actually help with the used game market again, and help companies like GameStop and the local mom and pop shops that do video game trade-ins, because now the value of these games have gone back up. So because they're playable now,
because you can't get them digitally.
Right.
The big thing is like a lot of those Marvel games are delisted because they're not part of the Activision deal anymore. So you can't get any of those Spider-Man games anymore. So the fact that not only that for the used game market, it's also going to help content creators, because for me, I do a lot of new and retro stuff, and
getting footage for it.
Exactly, and it's going to be the best possible footage, because for consoles like my GameCube and my PS2, I had to invest in a GameCube and PS2 HDMI cable that just directly outputs, because if I wanted to use the original cables, I'd have to use a splitter and put that splitter through a converter, and then to convert it to my Elgato, and then Elgato to my TV, and then it's an awful mess.
Yeah,
this is just an HDMI. But if it's a PS5 and it just does all of them and it looks a lot better too, that would have been so much better.
Right. It definitely will help me too, because I'll be able to actually talk about certain games and order them online and actually be able to play them.
Exactly. I don't talk about a lot of PS3 games on my channel because recording PS3 footage is such a pain. Because there's like this, what is it? There's this HDMI decryption tool that the only way to record footage off of a PS3 through a capture card is to put it through an HDMI splitter. That's the only way to do it, unless you point a camera at the TV.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's bad.
Yeah, and also too, a lot of the PS3 ports to the PS4, they're bad. They're not great. Like, for example, the Jak and Daxter franchise. Man, I know I was on PS2, but like I want to be able to play things natively, like, and then it converts it up and makes it nice. Because, for example, I bought the PS3 version of, it was okay, so it's weird. So they had remasters of what they did was that they remastered Jak and Daxter for the PlayStation 2, for the PlayStation 3, right?
Yes.
They
for the HD trilogy.
Yeah, for the HD trilogy. They then took those remasters and then ported them to the PS4. So
Wait, are you talking about... Oh, wait. For some reason, I'm thinking about Sly Cooper.
No, not Sly.
I was they didn't put Sly Cooper. Yeah, so Jak and Daxter.
Jak and Daxter.
Oh, yeah, right? I own those digitally on the PS4.
So you got from the original game, then converted over to the PS3, which already had its translation issues. And then you go from the PS3 to the PS4, which already has compatibility issues even more so. There are problems with Jak and Daxter on the PS4 that are crazy and annoying to deal with, like faces literally exploding, textures missing, the game breaking.
Jak X, like at one point, Jak X just didn't work because you would spawn and then your car would have no wheels.
Right. It's stuff like that doesn't work. But however, I own the original Precursor Legacy. I own the original Jak 2 and 3 from the PlayStation 2. If I could pop that into my PlayStation 5, and it does that thing that we talked about before where it actually ingests the disc, understands it, reads it, and then outputs it to 16:9 1080p, we're in business, dude. Like, that's amazing. That is fantastic. And that is a product that is going to actually stand the test of time, where people are going to be able to now go back up to these used video game stores and mom and pop shops to be able to start looking and hunting these games that they played as kids, because it's going to take those games, ingest them, and make them look better. We can do it on the PlayStation 2 emulators already. We're doing it with junky laptops. We can make, there are some people on, if you go on like Craigslist, or we have something in Canada, we have Kijiji. We also have Craigslist too, but Kijiji looks more friendly and doesn't look like a psycho killer is going to stab you when you meet up with them. So, people are going to be now hunting for these games. They're going to be looking for them. But people on Kijiji, what they're doing now is that they're literally taking old defunct laptops, like laptops that are like they're selling en masse because there's something wrong with it, repairing them, and then just converting them into mini emulators.
Yeah, exactly. And the people are doing that with our arcade machines too. They're just putting a Raspberry Pi in there and letting you emulate a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And the thing is, backwards compatibility on the PS4 has been such a cluster because I'm not sure if you know this, but you know that they released a Parappa the Rappa remaster, right, on the PS4?
No, I didn't.
Really? You didn't know that they digitally released? So the thing is, there's a Parappa the Rappa remaster on the PS4, and it plays in 1080p. It's in 60 frames per second. It looks great. But what people don't know is that if you buy that version, all the PS4 is doing is it's emulating the PSP remake at 1080p.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so that's a PSP emulator. They didn't remaster anything. It's just a PSP emulator with the resolution bumped up to 1080. So that's not even like actually remastered for the PS4. It's just an emulation. And people figured that out. So when people got modded PS4s, they injected another PSP ISO file into there, and it started working, and it upscaled it to 1080, and it was like, what is this?
That's interesting, because now that they're going to be able, they could be able to figure out how to create a system to be able to do that for PS3, PS2, and PS1.
Exactly. And there's a whole, so the big thing with PS4 that I was super excited about is what you mentioned with the Jak and Daxter trilogy or games. Right. They started putting PS2 games on the PS4, and that was awesome. There's a whole category on the PlayStation Store, but now that category is like hidden in like 5 layers of tabs on the PlayStation Store. And they stopped putting games on there. Like, I think the last game they put on there was like, I think Siren, like the weird horror game or something like that. I don't know, but they just dropped it.
It also with the backwards compatibility, it also adds rarity to games too. Again, like think about Fatal Frame.
Yes. Oh yeah, Fatal Frame. The big one for PS2 at least is Silent Hill: Shattered Memories. That game's like $90.
Right, and now you can actually experience them again in the best way possible, and that increases their value even more now because like, okay, now we can play it in the best way we can play it the best way with the PS5 because it emulates.
There's an even higher demand for it because there's an easier way to play it.
Right, exactly. And since it's not in print anymore, and then also too, and something that I found out, do you know what goes crazy in value? And I didn't know this. Dragon Ball Z games.
Oh yeah, okay, no. So this is something I deal with daily at work. There are certain DBZ games that go up in value. I think it's DBZ Budokai 1 and 2 are cheap. Those games are cheap. Budokai 3 is like $50. Like, it goes up. I have no idea why. I don't know if it's just that game is in so much high demand, or if, I don't know. I doubt it's because there's limited copies. It's DBZ. There's going to be millions of copies.
Yeah.
But I think it's just high value, and people really want 3.
I got one game that I brought in just to show to the person, and the person almost literally filled their drawers. I got Monster Rancher 4.
You got Monster Rancher 4?
I got Monster Rancher 4 on PS2. Yeah.
Dude!
Yeah. I got it.
Oh, okay. next year. So I'm a huge video game collector. We need to make this a topic on the podcast. I have a lot to say. I'm a huge video game collector, and the fact that you got, I'm so jealous.
Yeah,
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, I remember I bought it from Radio Shack too when it first came out. They had one copy left, and he's like, "Yeah, it's my last copy," and it was brand new. And I'm like, "Okay, I'll buy it." Bought it, and then played it. I played that game so much. I played it almost every day. Had so much fun with it. It was a great blast. It's put away somewhere. It's stored away, and I remember I walked into the used video games store one time and they were selling it for $99. I was just like, what? $99 for Monster Rancher 4? I also have Monster Rancher Evo too, the follow-up. So I was like, wow, it was insane to see that. And then I brought it in just to show them. They're like, man, they said, you got lucky with this one. And it turned out with the guy from Radio Shack, that was his last game. It was just the last of the stock. That was it. No more. They weren't getting any more because Bandai, that was a very limited run in the North America was Monster Rancher 4.
Good dude. Oh my God. Like, I don't know if you remember this, but a while ago I showed you. I took a picture at work of we got a copy of Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness in, and we were selling it for, I think it was like $65.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, because our discs are resurfaced, so they're like brand new looking, and the fact that that game the copy that was traded in didn't even have the original box art. It was just the disc with our printed box art that had the store's logo on the back. It was still $65.
I mean, that Gale of Darkness, that's one I have as well. I still have that one too, and I also have the Pokemon Coliseum 2 on Nintendo 64.
Oh yes,
yeah, I got that one as well. So that's maybe we should make a Wumpa time talk about game collecting in general, because that would be pretty cool.
I have a lot. I could go on and on. I could go on for an hour about it.
But speaking of an hour, I think we're reaching our time. Unfortunately, it's been over an hour since we started.
Oh, okay. Well, quick thing. Name 2 games you're excited for in 2020.
Cyberpunk 2020 or 2077, and Pie in the Sky, Crash Bandicoot.
There you go. All right, unannounced, but Crash Bandicoot. I think for me, they're two weird ones. Okay, I'll cheat. I'll do 3. One's Animal Crossing, of course.
Yep.
The other one is Last of Us Part 2, and the third one, oddly enough, is SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom.
Yes.
Rehydrated.
Yes, that's another one.
I never played it. I never played the original. I really want to. I think I'm about to play the original because I'm actually doing a video on SpongeBob games. But that game, going back to game collecting, I think the PS2 version sells for a PS2 game. It's for $15 for a PS2 game.
Wow.
And I think the Xbox version goes for like $18 to $20. So that's it's pretty pricey. That's what we call high demand.
Definitely.
But I'm very interested in Rehydrated because it's being made by a studio I'd never heard of. They made like one game.
Well, it's their basically a premier title almost, so that's going to be interesting to see how they do it. If they do well with it, it might open up the door for other games as well.
I hope so. But yeah, those are mine. People in the chat or in the comments or who are emailing us just because you don't know how else to talk to us. What are you excited for in 2020? What games are you excited for? Are you excited for Persona 5 Scramble, Persona 5 Royal, the Mario and Sonic iOS game apparently? I'm looking at a list. What?
Oh dear.
Marvel's Avengers, Resident Evil 3 remake, Cyberpunk, Neo 2, all kinds of stuff. What are you excited for?
Let us know.
Oh, one more thing. I wanted to ask you about this. Do you know about the One Punch Man game?
No.
it's just imagine an anime fighter, a 3D anime fighter, but there's one new mechanic. You have a time limit to beat the other character before Saitama comes up and punches you and you die.
Oh.
That's it. That's the whole game. You have a minute to beat it before he runs up to you and then punches you and then you die.
Well, that's a mechanic.
Yeah. So 1v1 me, One Punch Man, Fox only. Well, I think that's everything.
I think that is. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Wumpa Time. We are in your ears everywhere. We are now in again, iTunes or now Apple Music, right?
Yeah, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music. The big one is Spotify, SoundCloud, which is our RSS feed, YouTube, which is where you guys are probably watching on. And thank you guys so much for supporting us at this later half of 2019, and I look forward to entertaining you guys more on the podcast in 2020.
Yes, and before we get until we see each other again, Merry Christmas, have a Happy New Year, stay safe, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, stay safe, everybody. Spend time with your family and your loved ones, and just enjoy it.
Enjoy it. Show us what you got for Christmas on Twitter. And also, just a reminder, no podcast next week. It's just go. Don't worry about it. Just no podcast next week. We're going to be starting a new podcast on, January 4th.
Sounds good.
January 4th. So show us what you got for Christmas and look forward to next year.
Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.